Okay, welcome back to Ask Chava. I'm Chava. I am an acupuncturist, a life coach, and an expert in Chinese astrology. And I'm here today with Camilla, who has very kindly volunteered to share her chart readings with everyone, for everyone who wants to get a better idea of how Chinese astrology works, what you can learn from it, what you can learn about yourself. And today we're going to be reviewing Camilla's chart in general, and also looking specifically at Camilla's personality and what suits her from a business perspective or from a work professional sort of that sort of field. So I just wanted to say that the system predates the concept of having a career by a couple thousand years. And so people often ask me, what should I do? What should I do with my life? What is my purpose here? What jobs am I suited for? And I'm not going to give you an answer like you should be an accountant, or you should be a baker, or you should be a home security consultant. I did once tell a woman she should not be an accountant, but I don't think astrology was necessary for that. But what I can do is look at two different areas on your chart, one of which represents the energy that you were put on Earth in order to share with other people, and one of which represents how you relate to people around you. And we can also look at what energy you need to get from your environment in order to be healthy and happy and balanced and secure. And when we put all of those together, we can generally come up with some sort of idea of what sort of daily life you need to have, what things you need to do, what things you need to have around you, who you want to work with maybe. And that can very much help narrow down the whole general concept of what professions are suited to me, or what should I do for work. And we can also get a lot of information about how you can interact with the people around you, how it's best for you to do that, what sort of interactions are best for you. And then we can also use that to look at things like, should you be talking to people all day? Should you not be talking to people? Should you work on a team? You want sporadic interaction with other humans, but lots of time to yourself. And all of these things can help narrow down the whole question of what should I do in terms of work in a profession. So before we get started, Camilla, do you have any other questions?
No.
What we're going to do? Or
excited to hear what my chart says about me.
Okay, so I'm going to just dive right in. And when we look at the area of your chart that represents the energy that you bring into the world, which is called your heavenly energy. It's right. It's you imagine that you're a conduit from heaven onto earth, which is what basically human beings are. There's a specific energy that you manifest just by being yourself. And it's very important that everyone be able to manifest the energy that they're supposed to, because this is how we have balance, and this is how we can all give what we need to give, and everyone is able to get what they need to get. Because if there's a society where everyone is trying to act like one thing or trying to do one thing, then that means that there just isn't going to be a balance. Not everything is going to be available. Not everyone will be able to get what they need, and those societies tend to not be very healthy. So it really is important that each person be able to be themselves and to do what they need to do. And one other thing I want to say about this is that a lot of times we see differences between this heavenly energy that you just manifest by being yourself, and the specifics of how you might interact with people around you. And so a lot of times people connect very much to their own heavenly energy. They don't necessarily see it immediately in other people, and vice versa when it comes to the earthly energy, which is what's represented by the Zodiac animal. And so a lot of people I know want me to tell them what their Zodiac animal is, and they want to know about their boyfriend and their mom and their best friend and their aunt. And they go, oh, well, all of them make sense, but I don't really see it for me. And that's because the animal represents our relationships with other people, and less our own internal experience of what we just manifest by when we're on our own and just living our own lives. So in your case, the heavenly energy, so the energy that you just manifest just by being you, is the earth energy, where the earth represents, if you kind of think of the concept of Mother Earth, it's very similar to that. It represents caring and it represents support and wanting to nurture and wanting to nourish and to provide a safe space for it, to provide a firm foundation, to provide a home and everything that that a person or a thing or just to provide for something's needs is the main thing that the earth energy exists to do. And so people who have this heavenly earth energy will often be, they don't necessarily end up in jobs as caregivers, but they end up doing things that require where they pay attention to things, where they look after things, where they think a little bit ahead, maybe where they put routines in place, where they make sure that supplies have been acquired. When you look at what are called the big 5 personality traits, which is the terminology that psychologists use to describe the main personality traits of human beings, which line up very nicely with the 5 energies, then the earth element, the equivalent of the earth energy, is referred to as agreeableness, where that is basically the drive that leads you to want to take care of children or of other members of your tribe. And so it really is, it's the caring, nurturing energy.
Yeah, that's definitely me, without a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In one of my previous jobs where I was managing a team, one of my teams started it and then it soon kind of swept through. They all used to call me Mother Goose. So
there you go. Oh, that's great. All right, so there you go. So anything that requires, like I said, nurturing or taking care of, and it could be a person, but it could be a project, or it could be a company or a book. You could be like a great editor, or what do you call it? Not editor, agent. I don't know, the people who like hold authors' hands and walk them through the entire process of actually publishing a book. Yeah, just so this energy is all about, like I said, like about taking care of things, about nurturing things, about nourishing things. And so, like I said, in terms of what you should do for a job, I'm not going to say you should be an accountant, you should be a baker, but if those were the only 2 options, I'd probably say baker is better than accountant, unless you could look at accounting as a way where you are taking care of your clients and supporting them and making sure that they have everything they need. And then when we look at the other main energy point, we're looking at how you interact with the world around you. That's represented by your zodiac animal, which is the rooster. And the rooster represents a very beautiful combination of energy, of what's water energy and metal energy, which we might get into if we have time. But if you think about a rooster, I don't know about you, I grew up on a farm. I grew up with roosters. Very annoying if you don't have to get up early, but they really are amazing animals. And the thing about the rooster, as opposed to a hen or a chick or a sparrow or some random bird, and this is very specifically a rooster, the zodiac sign, is that the rooster is the one who takes responsibility for everyone. And the rooster, if you look at a flock of chickens, then the rooster is going to be very distinctive. He's very pretty, he's very colorful, he's bigger, he might have a fancy ruff of feathers. He's the one you're going to notice first of all, and he's going to go out in front, and he's going to walk through gateways first, and he's going to try the food first. And people who don't know chickens might think that he's he's a control freak, or he's He's taking advantage of being bigger to eat food before the hens and the chicks, but that's not it. The rooster knows at a deep instinctual level that his job is to take care of his hen and his chicks. And he's going to do the best he can to do that, to see that they have everything they need and to see that they survive. And so he always goes out first. And he looks so big and fancy and pretty so that if there are any predators around, they're going to attack him. And the hen and the chicks have a chance to escape. And he scouts ahead. And he's always perched somewhere up high where he can observe and supervise and make sure that no trouble's coming. And he tastes things first to make sure that it's not a trap and nothing's going to rush out and eat him. And he cares a lot about the way he looks. He puts a lot of effort into his presentation, not consciously, because he's an animal and he doesn't plan to grow his feathers that way. But a rooster's body he needs more food in order to grow those big fancy feathers, and he does that so that he'll look bigger and scarier if he needs to defend his family, and so that if any predators come, he's going to be the target and the hen and chicks can escape. And so the rooster describes someone who really is a natural leader. And again, this is in terms of their interactions with other people, who's a natural leader, someone who's very careful and aware of what's going on around them, someone who's always absorbing information through their senses and has a very good gut instinct, and someone who's cares about the environment around them and is always looking around to see what's going on, and someone who cares about aesthetics and about how they present, but not in any way from a place of ego or superficiality, but because they know that how they present themselves and how others see them will affect how well they can care for their families or for their teams or whoever it is that they're taking care of. Roosters are usually very friendly and very sociable, but not actually extroverts. They just fake it well. And they really prefer to spend time with their family, and they're very close friends with their flock. How's it sounding so far?
I'm really sorry.
Oh, okay.
The dog's going berserk and I've got
I'm sorry. All right, so you can go remute yourself. Anyone? Oh, it's all right. Oh, all right. Quick break to deal with the dog. All right, so while Camilla's not here, since I'm not so sure about my editing skills to take this chunk out, I'm going to talk about her behind her back. And I'll catch her up when she gets back. So one of the really great things about roosters is they have this really deep ability to listen and to connect with the people around them. Hi. Everything all right there?
Sorry, I had somebody at the door and the dog was going berserk.
That's fine. It happens to all of us, especially over Zoom. They seem to know when the time is. Right. So I was just saying that one of the really special things about roosters is how connected they are, both to the people around them and to their intuition, to their gut feelings, to their sense of, to their inner sense of what's going on. And then they combine that with a lot of clarity and with a lot of ability to focus and to really try and pick out what's the right thing to do in a situation, what, who's the right person to talk to, what is the next move to take. So they tend to be very good planners. And yeah, to just have a lot of clarity and a lot of ability to kind of lay things out in a clear and coherent manner, make it easier for other people to understand the data and to make decisions. So I actually don't have that many roosters in my immediate family, but one of the most roostery roosters I know is a mortgage broker. And he's always showing up and he's like, I have analyzed the data for 50 different mortgage plans, and I'm not going to give them all to you because you don't care. and you don't want to go over all that data. So I've picked out 3 representative ones. Take a look at them and see what you think might be the best sort of thing for you. And right, so he collected all the data. He did everything, like he analyzed it, he thought about it, but he's not going to dump it all onto his client. He's just picks out the very best options and presents them in a way that's easy to understand and to choose between. And that's a very Rooster way of approaching information.
Very interesting. Yeah, very interesting indeed.
Yeah.
There's lots in there that I've resonated with, definitely.
Okay. Out of curiosity, is there anything that didn't click with you?
I'm
always interested to hear.
Yeah, I mean, planning's a bit of a funny thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
I love to plan, and sometimes I can do it really, really well, and I can execute my plan really, really well. But other times, I don't quite know what the trigger is, or sometimes though I don't plan at all, and I just dive straight in. But can quite often think I wish I'd planned this better, because then I'm in too deep and I'm thinking, oh, it's all going a little bit awry. Whereas if I had a plan and I was sticking to it, because when you plan, you know where you want to end up, and then you put the steps in place. Whereas if you don't plan and you just freestyle, you can end up kind of halfway through something and it's not going the way you want it to, and because you're in too deep, you actually can't see the way out of it. So but yeah, I do like planning, but I wouldn't say I was a methodical, rigid planner.
Okay. Yeah, so okay, so there's 2 things there. One thing is, like I said, the energy that you manifest just when you're being yourself, when you're not necessarily interacting with someone and having to like be there for them, is this very Mother Earth energy, which is not, there's not a lot of planning there. It's more doing the next right thing, right? Being a parent is doing the next right thing and muddling your way through. And then the other thing is that there's also an energy that you need to get from outside of yourself, that you need to get from other people in order to be balanced. And in your case, what you need to get is this energy of planning and decision making and clarity and setting boundaries. It's like you can do it for other people. You might not be the best person at doing it for yourself.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And for yourself, right?
Sense.
Right, because roosters are leaders. They're taking care of their flock. But just like a lone bird, he doesn't need to do that for himself. And so the animal really represents who you are for other people. But then the energy that you need to get from outside of yourself in order to be balanced really is that was called the metal energy, the clarity and the decision making and the planning. Any help you can get with that is going to help you be more balanced and more able to be yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's things, I mean, ideally, if you have a team or people you're working with and you can have someone who also does some of the planning, then that's great. If you can do things like establish routines where you have a calendar or processes to do things, and that can be like trying to build the outside support that you need for yourself. But that it really is a fascinating energy, the way it's manifesting in you, because you can give it and you're very open to getting it, but doing it for yourself is going to be hard for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny you say that, because my husband, he, in the areas where I'm not really good at planning, he is. So for instance, we run our own businesses, and he's the one who would do the business plans, he's the one that would do the cash flow forecast. He's the one that would do all of that kind of thing. Because all of that for me, it's just boring and time consuming, and I'm more, I guess, you know, what you've been saying, I want to be out there arranging more kind of not necessarily social things, but working with people, doing things with people, rather than the kind of the planning that is just me on my own doesn't really interest me. I like to be organising events and people and, like I said, I guess leading. No, you sitting quietly by yourself, you're capable of it, but it's not going to light you up. Absolutely. Oh, it's great that you have someone there who can do the planning and the boring part for you. Hopefully it's a part that he likes. Oh yeah, he does. Loves a spreadsheet.
That's wonderful. It's very important that people like those be out there.
Yeah, definitely. And it's great that I found one.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, so in terms of that, you know, what you need to do, what sort of work you should do, or what sort of profession, something that involves taking care of things, supervising things, leading things, organizing people, listening to people, not like a therapist maybe, but certainly taking an input from others. Those are all strengths that you have. Having someone on your side to take care of some of the more analytic side of things is wonderful. And and having someone to do things for, or having something on the calendar, because it's possible that that just sitting down and saying, all right, now I'm going to get to work on X because it's Tuesday, and on Tuesday I work on X, might not be something that comes as easily to you. You might kind of need the feeling that someone is counting on you, or that there's a deadline in order to actually get yourself to start working.
Yeah, I mean, you know, obviously I'm disciplined because I work for myself. You have to be.
Oh yeah.
But I totally get that.
Yeah. I think sometimes I mean, discipline is great, but if you can plan, plan something that'll motivate you so that you don't have to just be relying on your willpower, it's usually a lot more effective and a lot less tiring.
Definitely, absolutely. Yeah. Brilliant.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Do you have any other questions?
No, I don't think so. That was really good. Thank you. And I'm sorry about the interruption.
That's fine. Really happens to all of us. Happened to me last week. So, all right. Well, thank you so much for your time. And
thank you.
Hope to see you again soon.
Hope to see you again soon. Take care.